Welcome back to the KickNPost YouTube channel and podcast with your hosts, Jamal Thompson and Chris Perry, getting into another one of these wide receiver prospects. Quentin Johnston, the 6'3", freakiest receiver in the NFL, some highlight tapes say. I think otherwise. How you doing, Chris?
I'm good. I'm thinking just like you. Quentin Johnston ain't him. It's never been him, besides one week.
I'm putting my flag down with Chris on this one.
Yeah.
This man will underperform if you overdraft him. I repeat, this man will disappoint you if your expectations are too high. Quentin Johnston, 6'3", 208. Decent body size, I would say. 40-inch vertical, 11-foot broad jump. Apparently, this pro day ran a 4.5 40. Pretty solid athletics, right? Why in an offense? I know they had a decent running back. He's also an NFL prospect. I think his name is Kendra Miller.
Yeah.
An offense where I can't name another TCU wide receiver that's like that. Is this man not utterly dominating defenses?
And it's like you said, he should. Measurables say he's a man amongst boys. Stats say otherwise. He had one game, though. I'll give him that one game you mentioned. I think it was Kansas.
Michigan game? Yeah, he had Kansas, but I mean, Michigan is probably the biggest game of his career.
Yeah, Michigan, he went 6 for 163, one touchdown to upset, lead your boys into the college championship. I'll give you that one. Great showing. But in the college championship.
He did the week after that.
Yeah.
Yeah. What happened in the biggest game of his career?
Biggest stage. One reception for 3 yards. I understand that it is the Georgia defense, and the Georgia defense, front four, is pretty dominant. Yeah,
history, probably.
Best defense. You had a couple top 10 guys over there. Hey, keep it. One reception. You couldn't get a slant. You couldn't get just a little high point. One reception, 3 yards.
My stance is it possible that Max Duggan was the problem? Right?
That is possible.
I want to look at it and be like, oh, yeah, this man just underachieved. But he doesn't throw himself the ball, right? And something I see consistently on tape, this man is never catching the ball at his high point. This man has caught probably 50% of the highlight catches I've seen on his film. He's catching the ball in his chest. I don't get to see how big of a range he has as a receiver. He's never catching the ball away from his body, never extending fully, never using that 6'3" frame. He's a 6'3" receiver that catches the ball like he's a 5'10", 5'9" receiver. Everything is in his chest or by his shoulders or by his hip. So you're giving me the 6'3" frame and telling me how elite of an athlete he could be at that size and all of that. But I never get to see it on film. So again, obviously ball placement isn't his issue alone. His quarterback has to give him those opportunities. But I feel like the blame has to go a little bit both ways.
It's just...
where the ball's at its highest if you're tracking the ball well. Is there a ball tracking issue with this receiver too? I don't know.
Just to be devil's advocate, he does play with this man every day, every week. He's throwing to him. So maybe he just knows how his ball is going to get there, situation that he's going to be in. Because like you said, not too many plays, if any at all, of him running full speed, extending arms fully to get a rack, for a tutty. If anything, he's extending his arms to go back for the ball or to, like you said, to get in position to jump up. He has to use his arms to position himself with the DB. It's just tough to say when you had a full season and you only have 3 games where you go over 5 receptions. It's that's just tough. Not to say that the skill isn't there, but now you got to dive in deeper. Was he the issue? Was Max the real issue? Was the offense the issue? And just so many question marks are what pushes him out of the first round. It's just too much risk at that point. Even on the year, he had -7 rushing yards.
Why are you?
What is this? Because
he's a wide receiver.
How you have negative?
They tried the screen once, and
I understand you're a wide receiver, but once again, a man amongst boys in college, even if you get the ball behind the line of scrimmage, it should not matter. Unless you're playing Georgia, by all means, cool. But that's what another question mark is. your build says dominance, your stats say otherwise. Like, I don't know. Like, should I take that
I
risk?
I gotta believe at 6'3", playing every game in the Big 12, you gotta be up in that mix for the Biletnikoff Award,
Exactly.
right? You gotta have them type of stats if you're that
Exactly.
guy. The number one receiver on your offense, your team's undefeated practically all year. You gotta be putting up some insane stats for me. You guys pass the ball around. I know Kendrick Miller's over there. Pretty sure that's his name. Running back prospect that will be probably taken day 3 NFL draft. But he's not like a workhorse per se. He's not a guy that was just draining the offense and it became Arkansas. There were opportunities for you to really go off, I feel like. And 1,000 yards isn't bad, but I expect more at 6'3".
Like, 1,000
208.
yards isn't bad, but when you play Colorado, you had 3 receptions for 22 yards. Okay, bad week. You
I'm not even
played,
talking Colorado. Tarleton.
yeah, Tarleton.
How many
2 for
snaps did
22.
he play against Tarleton?
It don't matter how many snaps. He had 2 receptions that whole game. There's 4 quarters. 2 receptions. That's a drive for some people, for some receivers. What did like next game
I'm
SMU
hoping
3
they
for
benched him
29.
first quarter.
Like, it's just like, what were you doing for the first 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks? And then week 5 and 6, you show up. Okay, cool, you're here now. And like, then you just dwindle back down. Like 4 for 74, that's straight, but that's not dominance. 4 for 76, cool, no dominance against West Virginia, which once again, no slander, but we have other receivers in tougher conferences doing more. So can't be upset when you don't get a first round invite to the draft. You know, I think they see
That's
what we
crazy
see.
too.
But is
That's
it though?
crazy too.
But is it though?
I mean,
After
for
looking
him,
at
I
the
don't
games,
think he falls off draft boards though. Like he should be there as a day 2 pick. Like I'd
Yeah,
be surprised if he
100%.
doesn't go second or third round. But to
but
take his invite away, that's wild.
the tape doesn't validify a first round stock. The stats don't validify first round stock. The combine don't solidify it. So
It wasn't a bad combine. It's just
it just wasn't
you
good. It
didn't
wasn't great.
show. Yeah, you didn't show like okay, maybe the offense didn't do me any favors. DK's stats in college weren't crazy, but when he went to the combine, they were like, "Ooh,
Like, ooh, what? Maybe we
Maybe.
did miss something. You right? His combine was
Maybe.
like, no, everything we saw was true. Everything we thought was valid. That's it. Nothing
They
else.
give him one of the take of like he's shifty for his size, and he is. But again, you watch on film, he's shifty against the Kansas DBs. He's shifty against Tarleton. He's shifty against DB challenges that when you get to the league, those players move so fluid. He doesn't show a level of getting out of tough defenses on film. Like the shiftiness should lead to way more yards after catch if he's truly shifty.
It should.
I should see some 4 for 100s in there against poor conference or poor competition.
Yeah,
right?
you should have
So I
at least
a lot of question
one big
stats.
explosive play every time because it's a mismatch for you. And even in the sense of Mac wasn't that guy, if you are that guy at receiver, they will get you the ball. Like even on the reverse, for you to do some crazy shiftiness and just get through and get 50. Like we've seen too many players do it. Like, and that's what my issue is. But just to be devil's advocate, I don't hate Quentin fully. I do think there is some potential there because you do have a couple handful of games where he shows you like, possibly he could do it. Next year, I don't think so. Year 2, I think he'll put in a little bit more work after being exposed year 1. You know, get that dog in him, but get some weights up, get some the game film in his head, and then I figure around the back end of his rookie contract where we really see him start to blossom because I think he's just a project. Same thing with AR. Right system, right coaching, he could be a monster, but he's no solidified day 1 that you put in as a receiver 1 that's going to win you games because I haven't seen it. Have you seen it, Amal?
I need more from him on all the other fronts. I think his athleticism is above average. I think his height obviously matches what you want from a dominant wide receiver 1. I think the way he plays the position is mid currently. I think his shiftiness, even though it gets credit, is mid currently. I think his route running is mid. So unless he lands in a perfect situation where people are able to alleviate some of that pressure, I want no parts of Quentin Johnston at where he'll probably go in your rookie drafts. First round probably is where he'll be mocked in most rookie drafts. Want no part of him in first round. Again, at the second round, I'm willing to take that flyer in rookie
Honestly,
drafts.
I wouldn't even take him in the second round. If you really want Quentin, don't draft him. Let someone else overpay and get their heart broken this year from what they're going to see, and then trade for him.
And then go buy him for the cheap.
Go buy him for the low. Because even early second
everybody's
round,
expecting Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson out the gate now.
No, that's not happening. Guaranteed.
Everybody expects that from their rookie wide receivers now. If you go back 3 years, rookie wide receivers spend the first year on the taxi squad, traditionally. Not many times you're going to have those guys step out and be fantasy producers for you first year. But people have been spoiled. Jamar Chase, A.J. Brown at the back end of his rookie year. DK Metcalf had a solid rookie year. Like I said, Justin Jefferson obviously had a solid rookie year. Right? Amon-Ra, after the injuries hit Detroit, he had a solid rookie year. Everybody believes now that when you draft a rookie wide receiver, their immediate production that first year. And it's usually not the case. So I like your stance, Chris. Completely avoid Quentin Johnston until you see it. Now, if we're wrong and you have to pay that price to get him after he explodes onto the scene when he gets to the league, by all means, I'll throw my hands up. I might even come out and make a video. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Right? But as of what I see today on film, I'm on board with Chris now. I don't even want to spend the second round pick.
And I'm going to be honest, I didn't watch too many TCU games last year. So the stats don't tell the full story.
That took Cade. My boy Cade.
Yeah, get leading the Cade. Cade, if you're watching, you watched your boy all year. You know the truth. So if you believe in him and you really, in your heart of hearts, think he's first-round talent, go get your guy. Because, once again, the stats don't tell the full story. Yeah, he had 3 receptions. How did those come about? Was he open on other plays? Was he missed? We don't know. But you guys do. So if this is your guy, no slander at all, take him. I'm a firm believer in that. But to me, he's just not that guy. Like, nothing else to say. So, but that's,
I just
once
want to
again,
see
stats
one
alone.
catch. I want to see one catch with his arms away from his body, please.
I mean, you saw one catch at Georgia.
Somebody find film. One part of film with him catching the ball away from his body. Like, everything I see, he's either waiting for it to get to his body or it's on him. In the NFL, you gotta reach, bro. Yeah. Anyway. Again, I might be nitpicking. Like I said, I might be a hater. Perfect landing spots for this kid. Honestly, whichever team he goes to, there's gonna be a gap where he needs to develop a little bit more.
Yeah.
And if you're willing to work with that size again and that build, and you could probably coach him he could become a very good slot receiver for you.
Yeah.
I believe that. Like, you could mold him. He obviously doesn't have the measurables that Michael Thomas does, but you could mold him into something where he's a mismatch for the people who have to cover him in the slot.
Yeah,
you can utilize his size that way.
I do think his size is going to play a role in his blocking if he wants to, because blocking is all about mentality. Like, if you want to block, you can learn how to block in NFL. I hate to say it. It's true. But his size, his strength, his heart, if it's big enough, he'll be great for, like, a run-first team, like a Patriots, a Ravens, where you can use that blocking aspect of him to really dominate to where they have to crowd the box, and then his explosive athleticism can overtake when they least expect it, and then, hey, you got a career, you know?
You're right. He could end up being the guy who you utilize him in plays that you're not asking him to do too much route running or too much precision, but you get the ball in his hands, and once he has the ball in his hands, if he's sure-handed, he becomes a runner at that point, right? I just think the natural movements of a receiver that I expect to see on film, I don't see necessarily. And I ain't no NFL, like, per analyst. So, again, take what I say with a grain of salt. That's just my stance on what I see right now. Anybody looking to draft Quentin Johnston early, by all means. If that's your
guy, Cade,
you feel like you fit in,
get him.
Go get him.
Go get him, Cade.
Go get him. Like I said, Cade worked for TCU. Cade was at the national championship.
He knows what's good. We should have had him on for
He
this
he
talk, man. He would have had way more
exactly. I
insight.
should have asked him to give me insight on what Quentin Johnston is. Right? And I might ask after this. After I post him, I'd be like, hey, Cade, what did I miss? Right?
Yeah,
But
we'll have him.
as of
We
now,
need him on like one of the little mock drafts we're gonna do, and he can like
I like that.
really dive in
I like
on that.
that. I like that. I'll hit him up and see what he's about. Right? But as of now, he's off my draft board. Film don't do much for me, and I think I'm gonna just leave it at that. You might be able to circle back and buy for cheap year 2. That's usually the curse of the rookie receiver. If they flop year 1, you might be able to come back around, buy them for cheap year 2. Or if he flops beginning of the year even and has a boom game, somebody might try to sell him off the boom game, believing it's not real. If you believe it's real, go ahead and buy him. I won't say any names, but I bought A.J. Brown for Latavius Murray in a 3rd-round pick before.
Yuck. Yuck.
Won't say any
what?
names. Won't say any names.
All
But
right.
rookie year, A.J. Brown, one blow-up game. Somebody wanted their backup for Kamara at the time. And they gave me A.J. Brown, and I gave him Latavius Murray in a 3rd. Won't say any names.
I'm not even mad.
Right? So again, if these guys don't believe in Quentin because of many years of like many weeks of low production, and you're able to sneak in and buy for the cheap, that's your second opportunity if you believe in this guy. Me personally, I'm gonna have to see more on tape in the NFL, which he will make it. Shouts out to him. Any closing thoughts, Chris?
No. Only chance you draft Quentin Johnston is if he falls, because a lot of people do feel like he's Kevin Benjamin 2.0. So if he's at like the 2.6, the 2.8, you can't say no to that. Take him, live with it. But other than that, try to stray away. Try to get a better value later on in the year. Be patient. Be really, really patient, because he could be a great receiver. He has the build, but he has to put in the work. If he is passionate for the game, he loves football, then he will be great. But from what I've seen, as of right now, I can't trust it. So
Sell the name value. If he lands with Kansas City, sell.
sell, ship,
Sell immediately.
expedite that. Oh, I'll bleep that.
If he
But
lands with the Kansas City Chiefs, sell. If he lands on New York, hold. Because again, there's not many guys out there, and New York does not have the name value. Nobody really cares who Daniel Jones is throwing to, right? But because there's such limited talent, he might get day one, like about 80% of the snaps on the field, and then you're gonna get to really see what you got there, and you probably be able to get him later in drafts, right?
yeah,
So again, pay attention to the draft, see where he lands, and then make your moves then. If you're drafting before the draft, I wouldn't even touch it unless, again, like Chris said, 2.6, 2.8, right? But I'm not, like I said, I'm willing to just stay away and skip over Quentin Johnston and go for guys that I feel have more of an opportunity to build that value quicker or build that value at the back end, right? I'll sneak one of my sneaky running back prospects at the 2.6, 2.8, but I understand Chris's stance on that 100%. This has been another player profile coverage, y'all. We're knocking these out like crazy. And these thumbnails looking crispy on the channel, too. Like to thank y'all for tuning in. Like to thank y'all for supporting. 441 subs. Maybe by the time of this video, 442. You know, counting slow, but we're getting there. We'd like to thank y'all for the support. Help us get to 500 subs. We'll see y'all on the next one. And it's out. Peace.